Good morning and welcome to another edition of 15 Minutes of Flame. It's Robert Phoenix. Well, how is everybody today? Running a little bit late. I apologize. Had one of those existential kind of nights, if you know what I'm saying. Staying up late, probably later than I should. I'm trying to catch a few Z's on the backside of the witching hour, the deep witching hour. How is everybody today? I had a pretty interesting reception to my show yesterday. Some people, most people liked it. All 250 of you liked it. Oh, I love it. I love it. It's the 250 best people listening to my broadcast. It kind of reminds me of Mel Gibson's character in Conspiracy Theory. What did he had a newsletter? Where did he have like 15 people on his mailing list? I'm not sure if that's such a great comparison. Speaking of conspiracy theories, big trial going on here in Austin with Mr. Alex Jones. The dirt is coming out. Boy, let me tell you. So, again, let me set the stage for you here. Alex Jones is, of course, embroiled in a custody battle with his ex-wife, Kimberly Violet Harris/Jones. And I brought this up 2 days ago, and we talked about basically what she has received in compensation for divorcing Jones 2 years ago. And it's considerable, $2.5 million. She was already in possession of $1 million house, and she got possession of another $1 million house. Now, Jones wound up getting custody of the kids, and she didn't get custody. She didn't even get 50-50. That's kind of amazing because I went through the same thing here in Austin/Texas. And yeah, I get 50-50, but usually it's the women's game. That they're the custodial parent. This is how it gets flushed out. Now, Jones was somehow able to convince the courts or convince his, at that time, ex-wife that he would indeed be the custodial parent and they would stay with him full time, which I think is kind of amazing. Like, if you have money and a really good lawyer or series of lawyers and maybe some Freemasonic connections, you can pull that stuff off. When you're a humble broadcaster like myself, within the vice grip of the system, it doesn't really work that way. Just to let you know, 50-50 in the state of Texas is it's not. The time is okay. It kind of matches up if you add in theoretically what's supposed to be the non-custodial parents month, which is the month of July. It matches up, but the part that is the most difficult is the custodial parent kind of executive privilege. It comes into play where the custodial parent can make unilateral decisions based on their desire and what they think is best for the child. So the whole notion of 50-50 co-parenting at this point goes right out the window. And I certainly know that by experience. So she did not have 50-50 custodial rights to the children, and he had everything. So now she's coming after him. She's coming after the kids. She got what she wanted financially. This is about the kids now. And Alex is, there's a lot of weird stuff going on here. There's a lot of very strange material that's being uncovered. There you go. Just trying to. There you go. I gotta hit the right switch with my computer. Oh, it feels good. There we go. So let's see. Shall we just kind of look back briefly over the last 48 hours in his trial to see what's come up. Okay, first of all, it came up that Alex Jones is just playing a character. He's just doing performance art. That's not real. Now, if you're an Alex Jones listener, how do you feel about that? Now, a lot of us have come to the conclusion that, of course, Alex is playing a character. This is true. But now he comes back onto a show, walks it back, says, no. It's all real. So he's in this very difficult place where he's having to defend himself in a court of law by saying, it's not real, this is not my crazy character, it's just a crazy character, I'm not this guy. I'm actually a good dad, loving dad, I'm not this guy. And then he has to come back on the show and say, hey, I am this guy, because you've got to, buy into this. You have to believe me. I tell you, I've been clocking Alex Jones now for about 6 months, and I saw the meltdown coming. Big time. And then it came out that his ex-wife had a dialogue with him, or it came up somewhere. Maybe it was during the first custody piece, or maybe it was the intake to the custody, part 2, I forget which. But he was asked when his children's birthdays were, where they went to school, and he couldn't remember. He couldn't remember because he had a big bowl of chili. So we've gone from the Twinkie defense with Dan White to the bowl of chili defense with Alex Jones. That's unusual, and if that is true. If it's true, and it might well be true. And if it is true, then what does that say about Alex Jones? What does that say about his, not necessarily mental capacity, because the guy's pretty smart, but what does it say about him and how he thinks? And maybe, just maybe, that there is a type of thinking that is triggered with Mr. Alex Jones. I'm just putting that out there. Anyway, he's getting put through the ringer, and he's having to, of course, spend more money on lawyers to defend himself, and it's a big kind of local cause celeb, and it's very interesting to see how this is going to turn out, because it feels to me like even if you don't like Alex Jones, you kind of want him to win, because if he loses, there is a strange precedent that now becomes part of the social fabric, that the guy that's on the radio or on the TV, if he is considered deranged or if he's considered dangerous by his point of view, and he has children, that something could happen to the children. And I don't think it's great. Now, there may be cases where somebody might actually be dangerous and may have to have something happen to him or her in order to have the safety of the child brought to front and center. But I don't know. It's very, very unusual, and I think this is a kind of an overall assault on truth in information. And Alex Jones is the tip of the spear. Alex Jones is going to be crucified. I'm telling you right now. He's going to be crucified. He's almost there. He's about half-baked. And I think that the next Alex Jones is going to be Mike Cernovich. I have this sneaking suspicion that Alex Jones is going to be asked to move away from InfoWars, and Mike Cernovich is going to be the new guy, and it's going to fail because Mike Cernovich has no charisma whatsoever. And say what you will about Alex Jones, that he's nuts, he's a buffoon, he's a shill. He's entertaining sometimes. He's very entertaining to watch, and he has a dangerous charisma. Mike Cernovich, even though he wrote a book called Dangerous Play, has none of that. And I was talking about Mike Cernovich as being the next Alex Jones, and sure enough, there's Mike Cernovich on Alex Jones, him and Paul Joseph Watson, or no, it was Gavin McInnes. And they're all sitting there talking. So if things continue to go further south, there is an investment in InfoWars. Now, on the other side of it's not necessarily the alt-right, but the mainstream media side, Bill O'Reilly is about to lose his job at Fox News. So O'Reilly and Jones are running these parallel tracks. So it feels like Jones and O'Reilly are sacrificial. They're going to be sacrificial heads for alt news media. There's a major crackdown on information, and it's coming from a lot of different directions. YouTube is dealing with companies that are taking their sponsorships away from any number of videos. And if your video is deemed to be not sponsorship worthy, they will pull the ad, in which people are losing their ad revenue, about anywhere between $250 to $500 a month. I mean, if you're going to make money on YouTube, you've got to have millions of hits. Millions. You've got to have, 5 million listens every month. More, maybe more than that, maybe 10 million. And you might be making around $1,200 a month, $1,300 a month based on that. And clearly, YouTube has no problem with having to pay me out. And I'm not even in the revenue program anyway. So that's happening. I'm sure search results are being tampered with. Of course, our friends at Facebook continue to warn people about fake news. Sometimes stories are pulled. Sometimes people are put in the corner. I was put in the corner about a week ago. So there's this overall now kind of assault on freedom of speech. It is a soft assault. It is not a hard assault. And if you are actually in the business of using these tools in order to, number one, wake people up, and even outside of YouTube, let's say you have books or something you want to sell, this does get into one's ability to earn a living. And this is what's happened with our deep investment into the internet. I was listening to a podcast from, I think it was around 2008, and it was with the notorious Eustace Mullins. And Eustace didn't have a website. He would tell people how to order his books, and it was all over and through the mail, snail mail. And we've kind of lost touch with a lot of those old school 20th century ways of making content, distributing content, and exchanging content value for monetary compensation. And when we're so wired up to the internet and the digital platforms, we can see now how easily screwed we can get, or we can get. I think this is a really important thing to look at and understand. All right, moving on, but still in the realm of alt news, alt media, fake news, etc., etc., etc. I wanted to bring in this clip. I'm not going to play all of it because it's about 16 minutes long. It's from a YouTuber called Truth Media Revolution. Has a pretty good channel, and it's looking at this shooter. This live shooting that took place on Facebook live shooter, and it's, the way these things are happening now, and the way that I respond. I was watching sort of the news feed, and all of a sudden this Facebook live shooting pops up, and I was so nonplussed by it, and that's a kind of a I'm not sure that's a positive thing, because there can be events in the world where genuine emotion is actually called upon. It would be a really good response to what's happening. In this case, I saw this false flag shooting. I saw the interview, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to invest in that thing. And I'm glad I didn't, number one. And number two, I had to wait just about 24 hours to see what was going to happen. And lo and behold, what happened? Well, they caught the man who was dark-skinned. Okay, dark-skinned. Now, I'm not going to get out there and say, well, look at this, and you're afraid to say he's black. We know this. We know this is going on. It has been going on for years. Years. There'd be crimes that are reported in local newspapers, and they fail to mention, what sort of ethnicity or race or country. They're dialing back on all of that because they want to literally whitewash crime, and it's pretty much across the board. Pretty much across the board. So I think it's an equal opportunity whitewashing. So I found this last night because I'm thinking, oh, here we go. This smells like a false flag again. Because they found the guy about 48 hours later. They found the guy, and of course they shot him. No, what happened? No, he shot himself. He was stopped and he shot. And isn't that clean? Isn't that just peachy? Oh, okay. He shot. Oh, I'm about to be caught. I'm going to shoot myself. Why didn't he shoot himself before? Because that's what happens sometimes too. It's like, oh, I feel so bad. So bad. I got to kill myself now too. All right, I'm going to play a little bit of this. Pardon me, the audio is not going to be direct because I got a late start today. But it's kind of you'll get the gist of this, and you'll hear what I'm talking about when I come back and sort of break this down a little bit. Now, remember, this is Anderson Cooper, CIA. Vanderbilt family Cooper interviewing the victim's family. The victim, a grandfather. He was a grandfather, and I saw the first kind of wave of grief yesterday. I'm like, okay, here they are. The zombies are back. All right, let's play this.
God, how to fear God, how to love God, and how to forgive. Yes. And each one of us forgive the killer, the murderer.
You do.
We want to wrap our arms around him.
We absolutely do. We don't. I honestly can say right now that I hold no animosity in my heart against this man, because I know that he's a sick individual. I know that, because of his sickness, whatever evil overtook him that caused him to do this to my dad is not him. It wouldn't be something he would typically do. And I promise you, I could not do that if I did not know God. If I didn't know him as my God and my Savior, I could not forgive that man. And I feel no animosity against him at all. I feel sadness in my heart for this man. I do. I feel real sad.
All of us.
She's a God-fearing woman who was a great mother, a great coach, a great reverend. So that's all I want people to know. She was God-fearing and she loved everyone with all her heart. My mom was a God-fearing woman. She loved everybody with all her heart. It was tough, but things would get better. Tragedy has happened, but life's going to go on and things will get better. Love is stronger than hate. That's all I've got to say. Love is stronger than hate. Thank you. Love is always stronger than hate.
Members' words riveted the entire nation when they expressed their forgiveness in that Charleston courtroom Friday afternoon.
We lost our dad, but this mother lost her son, lost her children. His children lost their dad. And the girl
Tanya, that you're thinking about that, even in your time of grief, that you're thinking about that.
It's just what our parents did, but it wasn't that they just taught us. They didn't talk it, they did it. They lived it. Like, people would do things to us, and we would say, Dad, are you going to really forgive them, really? And he would say, yes, we have to. So
same thing, We already forgive him for what he's done, and there's nothing but love from our side of the family.
You just said you already forgive Dylan Roos.
Yes.
The man who killed your mother.
Yes, ma'am. We already forgive him.
Many people listening and watching this will find it very hard to understand. Less than 24 hours after he shot your mother dead, you're now forgiving him.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain how you came to that?
Love is stronger than hate. That's all I got to say. Love is stronger than hate.
That's all I got to say.
Way stronger than hate.
It's easily explained. It's love.
Mm-hmm. And basically, what it is a challenge where, kind of like the ice bucket challenge, where we're challenging society to change itself. What we want them to do is we want them to go out and show an act of love to someone who is different from them.
Can I show this tweet?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is a tweet of the President and the First Lady. It looks like it's on Air Force One. And there they are, holding the shirt and doing the heart that is on, that you're wearing.
Yes.
Did you know this is going to happen? Hate won't win. Why is that? Why aren't you... That's just it. Why aren't you mad? Why aren't you upset? Why aren't you angry? Why do you want hate not to win?
Our grandfather wouldn't have wanted it. Our grandfather was a strong man. He was a loving man, and he cared about his community. If he was here right now, he would be proud.
He lived love.
Yeah.
He preached it. And if we were to be angry about anything, or if we were to hold hatred in our heart, he wouldn't have that, and neither would the God that we serve.
My dad would be really proud of us, and he would want this from us.
He would.
And he would say, Tanya, forgive them, because they know not what they do.
You talked about how, Tanya, you talked about how your friends growing up said that they wish they were Godwins. I think a lot of people watching tonight, and I know certainly I speak for myself, I wish I was a Godwin right now, because you all represent your dad incredibly well. Thank you so much. I wish you peace and strength in the days ahead.
I wish you peace and strength in the days ahead. I wish that God's love will rain down upon you, and that His tears will supplement the ones that you're not shedding. What the hell is this? By the way, did you listen to their last name? Did you catch their last name? Godwin? Godwin? This is when I bring this stuff up and I play this for people. Here's what I get. For the people that cannot believe that our reality is manipulated, here's what I get. Well, some people show grief differently. Some people are in a state of shock, and this is how they respond. Well, if you're in a state of shock, why are you talking to reporters 24 hours after something theoretically tragic has happened? Why are you talking to reporters? Maybe the smart thing to do would be to not talk to reporters so that you can figure out what the hell you're feeling. Because I'm telling you right now, if something ever happened to my kid, my mother, anybody that I truly loved, I'm not going to want to invite them over for a glass of Sangiovese in my house and put my arms around them. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pull an Uncle Gene. No, I'm not. I'm going to go through some very complex emotions. And yes, I am all about love, and I am all about finding some deeper meaning for each of us in this lifetime to retain our humanity, but not this synthetic bullshit. This is wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, can people get to that place? Of course they can. But there are a few things that come up in that scenario. Number one, if it is so easy for these people to mouth these platitudes like the little zombie in South Carolina was, then maybe, just maybe, the level and the feeling of their depth may not have been that great to begin with. It's almost as if they were saying goodbye to an acquaintance, a passerby, some conceptual understanding and emotional response about what love should be. Have you ever been to or seen a funeral in an African American setting in the black community? You ever seen a funeral? Maybe some of these people will be very passionate, extremely passionate. And there's huge amounts of sobbing and wailing and grief, as it should be. As it should be, because we are in the process of responding to the loss of life in immediacy, in feeling, in context, in contact. Not this. This is some staged bullshit. I'm sorry. It just is. Okay, the Godwin family. First false flag, first official false flag on the Trump administration watch. We had kind of, skirted away from this, but it was nice and clean and tidy and sanitized. Guy killed himself. And the other thing, if you go through this video, and it's a great job in the video, one of the things that Truth Media Revolution brings up is that they don't have to get into the false grief, because the false grief is really hard to portray. Hello, Robbie Parker. Oh, I'm on. Emily. Yeah, she was such a good little girl. Hold on. I'm gonna get in character. Oh yeah, I miss her so much. Yeah, come on. They can't do that because people are onto their bullshit. We have not lost touch with our humanity to the point where we're ready to sign off on no tears. So now there's the other script of just get there to forgiveness. Get to forgiveness really fast, because then they don't have to manufacture the false tears. But they have to manufacture false forgiveness. And the thing that's kind of difficult is it's kind of sacrosanct. Like, I'm having perhaps a bit of a sacrosanct discussion around this. I'm being heretical. Oh my God, Robert, somebody's just died. How can you say that? How can you say that? Have some respect for the family. Have some respect for the dead person. Have some respect for their killer. He had children too. He had a mother and father too. How can you say these things? I can say them because I can. And because I think this is, ready? Bullshit. So if you go deeper, a little bit deeper into the video, you go deeper into the agenda. Let me see if I can just kind of fast forward this. I'm gonna fast forward this. So this is the mother of one of the kids that theoretically died in San Diego. Oh, by the way, the castigation and the crucifixion of Alex Jones is also the castigation and the crucifixion of every single thing that Alex Jones believed in and espoused, including Sandy Hook, including even the fake bullshit version of 9/11 that Alex Jones supported. By castigating and crucifying Alex Jones, you castigate and crucify the POV, the point of view. The potential for an alternative version of fake news to actually be presented. And of course, Alex always did it in such a way that it made him look like a madman. That's a good look. Let me see if I can fast forward this here. Hold on. Okay, you got to check this woman out. Let's see if I can find it here. Here's another guy, Brian Guiton. Minister embraces love and forgiveness after his child is killed. Another guy who's completely out of touch. If somebody killed my kid, I'd go berserk. I'd want to tear that person limb from limb. If somebody killed somebody I loved and was deeply, deeply devoted to and protective of, I'd want to tear them from limb to limb from fucking limb. Sorry, I'm getting a little profane this morning. I apologize. That's what I'd want. And would I do it? Probably not, because, there's statutes and all kinds of things that prevent us from actually acting out that kind of raw emotion. So I'd have to go through that. Anybody would have to go through that. And then you'd have to figure out where you are in the midst of that. But I tell you right now, man, it wouldn't be, 24 hours, I forgive them. I forgive them. They're just they're just having a really hard time. I just want to hug them. If they were here and they still had blood on their hands, I'd wipe the blood off their hands. I'd give them a bar of soap. I'd say, wash in my sink. Wash in my sink. Cleanse yourself in my sink. And then I'd give them a towel. And a cookie. And maybe a stuffed animal if I had one. All right, let me find this. Let's see what we got here. All right, this is this woman. She is the mother of a Sandy Hook kid. And she has started a program called Classes to Classes. Classes to Classes. Let's listen.
It may sound weird, but
it's Brian Guiton.
I'm grateful that it was me.
Grateful it was me. I'm grateful it was me.
National Life Group honors life changers, educators who make a difference in the lives of students. Caitlin Roy DeBellis has been nationally recognized for protecting her first-grade students during the tragic shootings at Sandy Hook Elementary in December of 2012. Her experiences from that day have led her to create a nonprofit called Classes for Classes. Its mission is to spread kindness through interaction with students across the country.
Classes for Classes connect classrooms to care. We are a social network for teachers and students to learn, to care about, and connect with others authentically through using our site.
Caitlin began Classes for Classes in February of 2013, and the site has now reached over 1,000 students in 11 states. Caitlin hopes the message continues to grow nationwide.
What our mission is and what our goal is we want to be in every classroom in the United States because there's no reason why we can't be. We think that it is so fundamentally important that starting in kindergarten, we allow children to have tangible experience and to be actively engaged.
Starting in kindergarten.
Giving to others, in understanding that we don't stand alone, that we are all connected, and that it is our responsibility to help one another and to pay that forward when something is done, nice or good to us, that it's our responsibility to give that back and put that back out there. That's the way our society is.
Caitlin and her team believe that as their message of giving and kindness grows, fewer students will feel left out and alone, and more students will enjoy positive experiences in and out of the classroom.
Really, at the end of the day, we believe that, number one, when we connect kids with other kids and we have them be kind to other kids, we have them empathize with the needs of other kids, number one, it lets them know that we are all connected. And number two, when we teach those lessons of love, compassion, and empathy, there isn't room for hate. And that really, at the end of the day, is what our mission is all about.
At the end of the day.
When we teach those lessons of love, compassion, and empathy, there isn't room for hate.
About 2 weeks after I was there, I noticed writing on my chalkboard in my kitchen. I don't know when Jesse had written it, but it was shortly before he died. And it says, nurturing, healing, love. So it's phonetically spelled, and written like a 6-year-old would write, but it very clearly says nurturing, healing, love. I feel like that's a message for me a message for my family and friends, but also for the world. Look at how everybody responded to this tragedy. It was in love, an outpouring of love. Sandy Hook chooses love. A few days after he died, I got his personal effects from the school. They came in a box, and I was flipping through them. And 2 days before he had died, he had drawn a picture of an angel standing in front of what is obviously a bad man.
A bad man.
And I looked at this and it hit me at a spiritual level.
Listen to language.
He'd never drawn anything like this before. This was 2 days before he was shot. When you look at this, you realize that he knew. Not his earthly shell, but his spiritual being knew that he had a mission and a purpose. And I believe, unfortunately, although he was only 6 years old, that he fulfilled that. And now I feel like his spirit is with me all the time. I feel him all around.
So,
when I heard that, that's Caitlin DeBellis, who has the Classes for Classes program. And when I heard that last night, and I heard the New Age verbiage, I wanted to vomit, and I wanted to divorce myself from anything that is remotely related to the New Age propaganda that I swallowed early on in my 20s. So, again, I've had some really very powerful experiences on a metaphysical and a spiritual level. I don't want to not divorce myself from those experiences. They're very real for me. But they're also very much apart from this. And essentially, what all of this is kind of manifesting towards, and this is what the video Truth Media Revolution points out, is the New World Religion. And it's the religion that's being touted by the United Nations. And that is love conquers all, love triumphs all. And of course, where do we hear that? We hear that inside the transgender community. Love conquers all, love triumphs all. The LGBT community, love conquers all, love triumphs all, overall. So there's this kind of new vague principle of love. Love, love, love. Love is all you need. And this is where people are being herded into. The other thing, inasmuch as Black Lives Matter is astroturfed, sorry, it is, George Soros backed, we have this version of the angry, militant, pissed off, communistic version of Black America. Now we have this other version, which is equally as astroturfed, but it's on the other side. And it's, again, this kind of dialectic and this duality and this dance of opposites. This is what we have. Now we're going to get the other version, but it's still just as astroturfed and vague. I guess I don't know. I guess if we're going to have one, let it be the soft version. I don't know. I don't have the moral compass on which fake reality to believe in or promote. The Godwin family. Speaking of deaths, here's some interesting facts for you. Charlie Murphy, Eddie Murphy's brother, of course, Charlie Murphy being famous for his appearances on the Dave Chappelle Show, the classic retelling of his story and time with celebrities that he and his brother Eddie would hang out with. And he talked about, of course, Rick James. I used to hang out with Rick James. Rick James, bitch! Cocaine's a hell of a drug. And he also had a story about Prince and how he and his posse hung out with Prince in Minneapolis one night at a club. And after they were clubbing, they said, come back to the Purple Palace, whatever it was called. And he talks about how they played basketball against Prince and Prince's guys and his band. And how Prince was an amazing basketball player, all 5'2" of them, in high heels. What's really interesting is that Charlie Murphy and Prince died in the same month. And Charlie Murphy was 57 years old, which comes out to the number 12. And if I'm not mistaken, Prince died on the 21st of April. So you have this inversion of 12 and 21, but they both died in April. There are people who are saying that the Charlie Murphy death was a ritual sacrifice and was for Dave Chappelle. I don't know about that. I would hope that that's not the case. Anyway, I just thought I would bring that up. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin has decided to deploy close to 150,000 troops near the North Korean border. I don't know if you got the memo before, but apparently China's amassed about 150,000 troops on the North Korean border as well. So that's 300,000 troops. Russia coming to the aid and the defense of North Korea, warning the Trump administration that if anything happens, like Syria, there will be hell to pay. That's how close we are to some kind of Armageddon drama, whether you believe it or not, whether it's real or not. Apparently, there has been a military coup to some degree, another soft coup. What martial art do you practice? I'm a master in soft coup. McMaster, Mattis, McFarland, Kelly. They're basically running the show. They've got David Petraeus. David Petraeus is involved through back-channel networking. Trump apparently has given the reins to the military. This is, I can quote you chapter and verse on this. They were talking about how they had, when they dropped the Moab, Trump didn't even know. That was the call of Mattis and McMaster. Let's drop the Moab, man. It basically, Mattis said a year ago you would have had to clear it with the White House. What a concept. Who would have thought that Barack Obama would have been the voice of sanity? But now apparently they can do whatever they want because Trump has bigger fish to fry. He is into delegating authority. And this is, again, getting back to that Kennedy timeline when he was assassinated. We had essentially a military coup take place, and they really have been in power ever since, along with the CIA and all the alphabet agencies. But here we go again. There's apparently a soft coup in the White House because Trump said, you just go do it. And he's out of the decision-making process. So now we have generals that are looking at all of their game theory and all the other computerized protocols and all the other stuff that they have, and their back channels and their relationship with the CFR and the Trilateral Commission and all their agencies and spooks and secret societies all kind of back channeling towards one another and making decisions about how the global chessboard is going to unfold. And that's where we are right now. Do you trust the military? It's a big question. The military loves war. They love to fight, and they need tax dollars for their services and all the accoutrements that are associated with their services. So, of course, we need more threats. We need more, bigger threats. But that's okay, because when the shit hits the fan, we're going to forgive them. We're going to forgive our perpetrators. We're going to want to hug them and say, I really feel for you. I feel for you, man. But you got all caged up in there. Well, I feel for what happened to you when you were a kid, and your dad took you into that room with all the other men, and you were in there for a couple of hours. Oh man, I feel for you. Yeah. I'm exercising the cynicism this morning because, here we go, the pivot. We've come to the pivot moment. And in the pivot moment, today's pivot moment is that there are times when we have to embrace the darkness and the subtle and not so subtle ironies of life. And we must apply a sense of humor to it all. Because if we don't, it becomes a toxic source in our lives that pollutes our well-being, even though we may not always be completely and consciously tapped into it, because it's out there. And so this is my gift from me to you today, is to work through this, untangle the knots, hold it up, look at it, see where the deception and the manipulation is, and to stay truer to your unfoldment, to your deepening, to your awakening, pulling back the blinders again and again and again. It's tough work sometimes, but it's our spiritual work. It's the awakening of the political, the social, and the spiritual. And trust me, there's value in clarity, and there's deep value in cutting through Maya, illusion, and the truth. There's other value as well, but that's what we're talking about today. So be steady, my friends. Continue to work. Look inside yourself. Don't allow yourself to be manipulated by synthetic sympathy, false empathy, corrupt compassion. For these venal states are as bad as the malicious and negative emotions that at times have to course through our bodies and be sweated out so that we can return to a spiritual, physical, psychic, and emotional homeostasis. And with that, we reach the end of today's show. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate it. I'm Robert Phoenix. I'll be back tomorrow. And these flames just keep getting stretched out longer and longer. I'll be back to 30 minutes tomorrow. Thanks for your patience. I really love all of you. I love you all. I'm sorry, that was a bit cynical. I really do. The people that actually listen to this program, I really do. It means a lot. Trust me. This has been 15 Minutes of Flame. I'm Robert Phoenix.